like we need to assimilate to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to assimilate to an American culture because we have been derailed from it, and we've lost our way in a lot of it. We got some Cornishmen tonight. I'm looking forward to this. Oh yeah. Smells delicious. Do we want to go? Yeah, might as well. Pipe gets a nice sized bowl. Like last time, it lasted me like 35, 40 minutes. And even then, I wasn't really done with it. I was sort of just ready to go home. Let's hit the Cornish. I think my pipe just went, or my lighter just went out. Maybe not. That's a good smoke. It's a nice smoke. You know, unfortunately, it's kind of hard for me to pick up on the nuances of flavors of these tobaccos because my pipe has been used with so many different variations. I need to do like a deep clean on it and then maybe see about getting some additional pipes. So I have some options. Anyway, brothers, we need to talk. AngloMaxxing. AngloMaxxing, American AngloMaxxing. Here's the thing, we look at the deportation situation. We're going to touch on this, but I'm not the biggest plan truster, right? So who knows what kind of deportations we're really going to get. Regardless, what we need to do, and also what we should be just doing anyways, is we need to be AngloMaxxing. We need to be American maxing, okay? You need to recognize your American Anglo heritage, lineage, nature, as a number one, a good thing, and number two, something that you strive after and towards. We have been taught that whiteness and an American, Anglo culture is a bad thing. And maybe not in every sphere of American culture. Like it hasn't been maybe degraded in like every sort of American culture, but in large, there has just been a negative connotation towards American culture that is, rural. Now, I understand that's not the majority of American culture, like I said. There are other aspects of American culture. But specifically the sort of derogatory nature in which redneck, rural white Americans are described and categorized in film and movies and music. Most of those boys don't give a damn. Most of those boys could not care less what effeminate Hollywood has to say about them, right? But if you live in like a suburb, like a city, like a larger, metropolitan area, you're bombarded with a sort of stigma toward that stuff. You recognize the stigma towards it. I mean, I maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but I grew up more or less in the sticks. I grew up in a small town and very wooden, had, hunters around me and this and that. And then moving to like a city, like a metropolitan area, it was just very clear to me. And I began to reject the sort of wooden, rural, cultural ideas and aesthetics just like naturally, because it was like, oh, this isn't cool, or this isn't what people do. People don't like it. People make fun of people like this. So it sort of shifted, So this is a sort of, in my mind, it's the way that we have been, taught and sort of catechized into being against ourselves. So what I'm advocating for is that we maximize that we go headlong into that. Not necessarily if it's like, redneck, wooden, rural American or not, but American culture, like white culture, you need to, I want you to maximize your ethnic, like, aesthetic, right? Because that's what everybody else is doing. The non-whites are doing that, okay? And it's like an alteration of our culture in our society when we see that. So I think that we need to make sure that we are doing the same in order to maximize the emphasis that we have and not allow this sort of multicultural slop, combobulation that it's been pressed onto us to alter us. Don't be influenced by these other cultures and their norms and their aesthetics and their ways. Like, I'm talking more about aesthetic in this video, okay? But really, this is an all-encompassing thing, right? Where we don't want to be influenced by the infiltration of these other countries and these other, nations and people. Because if we don't, if we look to them for our aesthetics and our like cultural leanings and interests, then we lose our American nature. We lose our Americanism, and America loses its culture. And, this is something that America has kind of done for a long time, but there are definitely a lot of ways that we can just revert back, very simply. And the thing is that Hollywood and clothing companies and, music artists and such, they do have to sell to a market. They are selling to a market. So if the market has a particular interest, that's going to be where they're going to, maybe focus their creations. And this isn't like my hope or my reasoning for wanting to do this. It's just a potential outcome that would be a very positive future. Really, again, what I'm talking about is just staying true to yourself and not letting the overarching attack on our aesthetics discourage you or dissuade you from being that way, from doing those things. The other aspect is, I see like a blending and a mixing of things, and I gotta say, like I've had interest in that in the past. And like as like a standalone, they might not be a bad thing. But the problem is that this seems to be like a reoccurring way that that our culture gets watered down and dwindled out. Now, one of them is probably the most controversial, or maybe needs a lot of disclaimers, but it's the most obvious. So I'm going to bring it up, okay? At least to me and my generation, and maybe to you younger guys, but the white rap culture, or whites adopting rap culture. Now, again, like I said, disclaimers is not. We can argue over African Americans, and their heritage and their lineage and their attachment to America and all that. But it actually is an ethnic, change. It is something that everybody can see. There's a term wigger for a reason, like a white rapper. It's not the norm, right? Rappers are typically black, and I'm not denouncing them. I think they should go for it as long as it's wholesome, which typically it's not, unfortunately. But like there's there could be a skill and a creative outlet to that. It's whatever, it's for them. But I don't think that whites should be as much invested in that. And it's actually more so, it's just, again, it's kind of about, I want to talk about the aesthetics, right? Like, I don't think white guys should be dressing like the gangsters and like even like Hispanics and whatever. Like, don't be dressing like other races. I mean, don't dress Indian, don't dress Mexican, whatever. Like, dress Anglo, and it's not to say like you wouldn't listen. Like, I'm not talking about like a purist thing. I'm not saying you're gonna throw out your wardrobe today, but I'm talking about like bringing in a sense of Anglo pride and class, And when I say pride, I just mean like respect and like dignity about your aesthetics as a white American. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's good, and it's to be you celebrated. It makes America be where it is. Like, when you're walking down the street and you see people, like, that does something to you. Like, there's a reason when we put on clothes in the morning, we know that we're there's a statement about us. There's something that people are going to see about us. We know that there's a vibe or whatever. Like, there's a reason that aesthetics is a thing. So I think being conscious about that and being aware and trying to focus on how can I present myself as a, American, Anglo individual that isn't like, conflicted, like it's it's interesting. Like I found myself like really kind of like having an eye-opening moment when I realized like that I was under attack, that my heritage, my lineage, my aesthetic, my American, like where I like, again, like I said, because I do come from a small town, like just the way that movies always make those people out to be the worst people. And in my mind, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, they are, okay, they are, which is like, it's just like I was buying into it, right? Like, kind of dude in a camo shirt and a big diesel be a jerk? Fine, sure, yeah, whatever, okay, maybe. But does that mean that they're all like that? And does that mean that there's anything wrong with being a white dude in a camo shirt driving a big truck? No, certainly not. That's a very American aesthetic, and I have no problem with it. And in fact, I'm all for it. Like, go for it. The white trash look, hit it, brother. Just go for it. I mean, it's obviously not a terrible thing, because you see it coming back. I think Theo Von has popularized the mullet again. Other people, of course, obviously, but like he's sort of a big, a reason, I think, as to why that's come back. And I like the mullet. It's fine. Again, I'm not going to be like dogmatic or like overly puritanical about this, but I think like we need to maybe consider like a classy Western vibe, and I would like to see that like amplified. And it is hard sometimes when costs can be attached to these things. A lot of garments, a lot of clothing can be out of range or something like this, but it is also about addressing the occasion. And you can see these videos online. If you're curious about this kind of thing, you can see there's tons of videos online about this stuff. And I've watched a few of them here or there just to see what these guys say here or there about stuff. And, because I like clothing, I like aesthetics, but not being like to be overly focused on or whatever. It's just a matter of like being conscious, being aware. I'm not saying you got to go out and like buy a new wardrobe. I'm not saying you got to go out and watch a handful of these videos to figure out what that means. I think that typically we kind of already know what it means. I think we already sort of have an inclination toward it. And I'm telling you right now that I felt a lot more comfortable in myself just embracing that, and just like not trying to like wonder about, oh, what should my aesthetic be? And I also realized that I found myself like looking at people and like being interested in their aesthetic and seeing something on them. And then I realized, wait, who was that person? Like, if I see someone on the street and I like their clothing or something, I should, maybe the look is good, right? Maybe it's a good look. But the question is it a good look for me as well? Or is it just a good look for them? And that's also important. Like, you don't want to be looking at just anybody and say, oh, that's a good look, and now I'm going to do it. My lighter for sure is on the low end, I think. So yeah, I mean, I think we need to like recognize that this multiculturalism is sort of here. It's going to be here. It's not going away anytime soon. Nobody thought that deportations was really going to change a whole lot anyways. Even if they did, happen successfully or more or greater than they have. But that said, America and Americans and Anglos in particular, the heritage Americans, we can bolster American culture if we make sure that we're bolstering it in ourselves, if we're representing it ourselves, if we are manifesting it ourselves, because culture is huge. Culture is a big thing. I gotta say, it is so cringe to me, to be honest. On the flip side, though, when I see some Indian guy dressing American, and it's not like because I don't like him trying to assimilate, it's because they do it poorly. Like they do it in a weird Indian way. It's like this, it looks cheap. It looks like, I don't even know how to explain it, right? Like it's Indian. It's like it's some other cultural like thing that I don't have, right? That I don't understand, that I don't recognize, but there's something just different about it, right? And it's just so cringe. And I found myself like going, oh, I don't want to look like this. Like honestly, they have ruined it for me when it comes to, slim, light colored ripped jeans and flip flops. What the? That's like that. That's like their thing here. What am I supposed to do now? I can't do that. Growing up, that was like all the older guys around me were wearing that kind of a thing. And I go shopping for my clothes and I buy stuff, and I like flip flops in the summer. I'm certainly not wearing any Birkenstocks. Okay, that's like a leftist. You need to understand that's a leftist sandal. Do not wear Birkenstocks. The slips with socks, guys, bros, my Anglos, please. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's not do socks with slips. Like, I get the comfort, but just make a decision. You're going to wear sandals. That means no socks. Or you're going to wear socks. That means shoes. That's it. That's just the way it works, okay? I didn't make the rules. I'm just telling you I like them, and I think we should stick to them. Because if we keep breaking these rules and bending these rules, then where are we going to be, in the next 5-10 years? And yet, on the other hand, if we keep the rules, where will we be in the next 5-10 years? That's what I'm saying, So yeah, AngloMaxxing, just embrace your American heritage, brother. Your American, dude. I like looking back at I like watching those old films, right? Those old timey films. I watched one the other day on Netflix. The message is so annoying, which of course it is, because it's Netflix, right? But I watched one the other day about this logger with his wife and such. Can't for the life of me remember what it's called. But if you know, you know. Anyways, it's like 1800s or like early 1900s. And the clothes were peak, dude. The clothes were just so cool. Like that early American aesthetic. It's so rad. I love it. And I like to try and buy clothes that maybe mimic that. There's other styles, like in the 90s, I think, I grew up, I was born mid 80s. I grew up sort of, teenage years into the 90s and then the 2000s. But there's a 90s vibe too that I really like. The 2000s, it started to get weird. I think the 2000s we were really influenced by like a Tokyo, like Japan aesthetic. And don't get me wrong. Again, here's the thing, guys. Listen, I appreciate other aesthetics. I do. I really, and that was my thing, is I would adopt a lot of sort of Tokyo Japanese aesthetics. I appreciate it, but I don't think I should be wearing it. I don't want to acclimate myself or like, I don't want to assimilate myself to another culture. Because again, if Americans aren't holding the line on American culture, American heritage, American Anglo culture, who's going to be doing it? You know? And if it's foreigners are doing it, then all of a sudden they're taking not only our nation from us, but they're taking our aesthetics, they're taking our culture. Like, we need to hold on to what we have. We need to amplify what we have, continue to double down, triple down. Because at the end of the day, we're not getting monoculture. That's not a thing, right? We're not getting mono ethnicity or whatever. That's not a thing. That's racist. But if we want to keep an identity, if we want to hold on to an identity, the ones of us who are able and who are willing, that's what we should be doing. It's for all you weirdos that don't understand the desire to want to hold on to that heritage, that culture, or whatever, and you think that that's bigoted and hateful. It's like, you don't get it. You're not, miss me with that, okay? That is not. I don't want to be robbed of something that is natural and normal to me and comfortable. I don't want that taken away from me. And I like it. I want to see more of it. And so if these people are going to be here, fine, whatever. But I'm going to be proud and Anglo. I'm going to be proud and American. And not in like a wicked, sinful, above somebody else kind of a way, but just in a sense of like, this is who I am and I'm going to be this way. They come here, they're them. They come here, again, there's a lack of assimilation. And like I said, whenever they do assimilate, a lot of times it's not even good. And it's like, it's just weird. And it's like a distortion. And I don't like it. Sorry. Like, it's nothing personal against you, I guess, this person, whoever they are. Aesthetics is not, aesthetics and dress, it's not like there's variations. Like, it's not like everybody's going to do the same thing. That's just how it is. But so that's why I'm saying, like, if we are Anglos, we are Americans, let's do that thing. Let's be that. Anglo aesthetic maxing and hope for a better future. We'll see. When it comes to aesthetics, just consider where you're getting your influence from, where you're getting your inspiration from. And I would submit to you and I would suggest to you that if we all start looking toward an Anglo aesthetic, a white heritage American aesthetic, we would see an awesome change. Like, we need to assimilate to ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to assimilate to an American culture because we have been derailed from it and we've lost our way in a lot of it. Let's make our way back. Thanks for watching.